Look at that here, what a surprise. Toyota delivers a new estate, a new wagon, a new touring to us, or Kombi as we say in Germany, a true touring or Kombi or estate or wagon form. And I mean, also got some Subaru vibes because here these crossover wheel claddings and so on. So yeah, I mean, is it like a crossover touring or a mix of SUV and estate? We're going to find out with the Toyota bZ4X Touring. I'm Thomas, this is Autogefuehl in 4K, full screen, full length, let's go. And in front, the Touring version already gets a little bit more rugged look here in the design, but maybe not the biggest difference to the normal bZ4X, the Toyota EV. This one being here the estate version, and also on the side is huge claddings. We already know that from the other version, but this one here has even more rugged off-road crossover look. Then here the wheels, these ones are 18-inch in the black design. They really blend with wheels and the wheel arches. And then here is the charging flap on the driver's side. 11 or optional 22 kilowatt AC and 150 kilowatt DC charging. 30 minutes from 10 to 80% state of charge. They also said they upgraded something of that. Recently we had the normal bZ4X facelift, but this one here, the Touring version, gets an even little bit bigger battery than the recent bZ4X facelift. Here now at 75 kilowatt hours gross. We don't have the net figures. Toyota doesn't release them, but it will be a little bit less than in the net figure. And this is all the way about it. The true estate styling, longer, upright, roof rails, looks really cool. I mean, it is something way different, isn't it? And the length then here is 14 centimeters or 5 inches longer than the normal bZ4X, making it at 4 meters 83 or 190 inches. So substantial length already, and in the rear, of course, completely new design. And here with the signature in the rear goes all the way through. That looks pretty cool. More upright design. From the rear, it almost looks like an SUV. And then again, these rugged details in the lower part here. There will be a front-wheel drive and an all-wheel drive version, and the all-wheel drive version will be the most powerful and quickest Toyota EV there is so far. And let's directly jump to the trunk or the boot. Small Toyota logo here. And let's open it because this really can do something. Look at that. I mean, there is there's also something here available. Let me just get you a little bit more light in. So you can apply this shade here if you have it here. This is cover. However, and underneath, some place for charging cables, for example, even more space underneath there. The sides can be pulled out for like little storage. Right here you have a real power socket here in the trunk. It's actually quite powerful. And now comes the big thing. There we go, folding the seats, 1 and 2, remote release, and look at that, there's so much space. And the luggage here looks kind of lost in this trunk, and is a meter or 40 inches between the wheel arches. In the very front, it's of course way more. Then the height here, substantial at about 80 centimeters or 31 inches. And the total length to the seats as we would be driving, you can see here the full 2 meters or 79 inches of the ruler go in here. So wow, that's indeed a surprise. And if you wonder what that all is in liter figures, it's 600 liters actually of boot capacity, and that is 150 liters more than with the normal hatch bZ4X. Is there a frunk or not, by the way? This car here is not sealed off, cannot open it, but from our pre-existing experience with the bZ4X, we know that there's no frunk actually. Power figures, 224 horsepower front-wheel drive, or second electric motor at the rear, then all-wheel drive, and then here in the Touring, 380 horsepower. That should make an acceleration time 0 to 1 kilometers an hour of about 5 seconds. So the quickest and most powerful Toyota EV so far. Very interesting, isn't it? Yeah, and then the question is, of course, about the real-world range with this one. We had experience, especially in wintertime, the charging wasn't working that well, and the range went down significantly. They recently did the update with the bZ4X. Of course, everything of that, the Touring also profits from. And I mean, if you score some 400 kilometers or 250 miles, that was like a good result with mild temperatures and so on. So I'm looking forward to, with this upgrade now and the Touring, and also that we have a little bit more battery and so on, if we can increase these figures. So when we drive it very soon, then we can keep you updated on that. Heading towards the interior with the door closing sound. Oh, it's okay. that's fine actually. So you know, we have some Toyotas where it doesn't sound that well, but here it's actually quite cool. Then inside of the doors, so in top part is nicely structured, not too soft though, a little bit softer here than for your elbow, but it's not soft enough. It's like it's not thick enough actually, so it should be thicker here for the elbow definitely. Hard pack on the lower part. Then the steering wheel is this whole column here, looks very interesting. Real buttons at the steering wheel. We also know it from the Prius, for example. There's a nice structure here on the left side, like this. It's a wooden-alike structure, so to speak, but it's not wood. And then you can see here, these are the fabric seats, fabric inside, leatherette on the outside. This is, so to speak, the low trim, but maybe in a way the more desirable one even. The other trim would be like that's like a full leatherette elevatable. But these here are actually more comfortable, I feel, because they adapt a little bit more to the sit bone underneath. And yeah, it's a very good seating position here. I found these seats here also, if you compare other Toyota models, among the most comfortable ones. Then the steering column here, up and down, in and out. And they place it in a way here, so the instruments, there's no head-up display, because the instruments are placed so high that they kind of replace yeah, a head-up display in a way, like from, not really from the focus point, but at least somewhat from the height. Welcome to this interior here with a 14-inch infotainment screen. Rarely see that in a Toyota. And interesting also the controls here for the climate and so on. Here on the left side you turn it and it is literally controlling the screen for you. So everything is done in the screen, but this is like a blending of analog and digital. It's like this button is doing the same thing that you would do like with a finger doing like this. It's very interesting, and we know it from the Ford Mustang Mach-E, for example, and used also in a normal Toyota bZ4X, but why not? I mean, you have everything in the screen, but at the same time you have an analog interface. So interesting solution to that. Just steering wheel heating and seat heating is directly then here in the screen to click it. And the software itself, honestly, is more like, hey, oh, it's the 90s, they called, you know? Gotta say that though. But we also have good things. First of all, the seats, as I mentioned earlier, they look great and they're also extremely comfortable. And the rest of the interior here, inductive charging pads, 2 now, left and right, no ventilation though. And then here, this the shifting lever, like this, you start driving, this in the park mode. And then cup holders are adaptive right here. And we have here, under the armrest, some space. You can also open it to both sides. Actually, there is no glove box in the bZ4X. And here, once again, you have this interesting structure here. This is also where the airbag will deploy and probably break this nice structure there. So I hope that never happens. Also for the volume knob, you still have this manual knob. So the most important features are to be controlled then in a manual way. I really appreciate that. And for the recuperation modes, you also have here these pedals at the steering wheel. And some space here underneath, here with USB-C charging and also with this nice fabric here to store some stuff, maybe put the phone there. And driver POV here, this is also the volume control at the steering wheel, for example. There you can see like this is my view, and then maybe the lowest part is cut off, but I can still see the speed and so on. Yeah, you can only change some things here of the instruments, but it's like really good in your line of sight, so to speak. Then the main infotainment unit, once again, I've shown you here, from my perspective, how the temperature changes. And yeah, the infotainment system is honestly not the best one. It does the job for the CarPlay connection and so on. That's, oh, Leah is pretty tired now, meanwhile. We've been filming here all day, but Leah still looks amazing, doesn't she? I mean, we've been filming for like 8 hours now, 8 hours, so yeah. Like so many different cars. So also thanks to Leah, because she is doing like 90% of the camera work in an amazing, steady and calm way. That's, you know, I want to point out, and I hope you guys also realize that. And important to know here that with the facelift, or then here also with the Touring, you can do a manual battery preconditioning or a one that is linked to the navigation. So both is possible. Rear seating here inside of the doors is a nicely structured material, not too soft. Here is a little bit softer than. Then you have here this more high gloss surface, hard plastic in the lower part. You have a lot of space here already. This is a nice version, once again, with the fabric on the inside, ISOFIX on the outsides each. And then we can fold down these. Cup holders are not adaptive though. And there's a cargo position here for the rear bench, like this, or like this. Also that you can get more trunk length in height, or if you want to sit more upright, I don't know. And then in the middle part, 2 USB-C chargers here and the relatively flat floor, because we're using this EV platform here. And when I'm sitting here, I have a lot of leg room, so there's no problem at all. Very spacious here also, headroom 189, 6 for 2, no problem as for that. And considering it's an electric vehicle, the floor is not too high actually, so you sit quite comfortable. And just to mention that you see it here, the roofline is actually 2 centimeters higher in comparison to the normal bZ4X. I think it's safe to say with the so far experience and also with the experience with the competitor that they don't have the best EV technology as for efficiency, range, charging and so on. It's all somewhat okay. But from the pre-existing bZ4X we know that it doesn't run that long as for the range. Now looking forward with the battery upgrades and so on, if this has improved. However, look at that. I mean, it's a really proper size with that higher roofline, lot of space in the rear. This is enormous actually from the inside space you have. And of course, this really unique look on the exterior, this crossover like all-road design or whatever. And I think that makes this car really unique and standing out. So I'm really looking forward to your comments about that. Check out the bZ4X, the normal one in the facelift, or also the one we have driven before in the pre-facelift.